Share. Okay. Let me know when you have a visual.
Yep, we got it.
Okay. Yeah, I was actually just playing around with it before this call. Let me get this thing to go away. Oh, I moved that toolbar. It's in my way. Come over here. Um, so this was the data here. Let me zoom out a little bit. So I live in Cumberland. And we were doing something. Is this the school, right? Yeah. So I must have turned something off. I don't know. It's got a lot of data in it. It had to do something with a race. Oh, that's the fairgrounds. Problem is, see.
Does it
Um, sorry, go ahead.
can you change any of the styling or is that
Oh
fixed?
yeah, this is all I think you guys can see this, right? So these all came out as geo packages.
Okay.
So NextGIS data. This is main, and I forget which ones I got. But everything is in. So I think they've got. I think it's maybe one layer or a collection of layers per geo package. They might do that for speed purposes. Um, but and then it's just straight, straight
Yeah.
QGIS styling, and they're pretty sophisticated styles. Like if I look at the contours, let's see. Like they're using rule-based stuff
Yep.
in here, right? So filter elevation, blah blah blah. And so what they've done is they've done all of the hard work of making things look really good in a sophisticated way.
So question, is that styling saved right in the geo package? Do you know? Still there, John? I think I've lost my audio.
I think he's muted.
Oh, yeah, John, you're on mute.
Sorry about that.
Okay. I thought it was on my computer, but Steve noticed he got muted.
It's clicking around too much. Um, yeah, so this had more data than I was able to get from state of Maine and some other things. This is all OSM data as far as I could tell.
Well, 50,
I take that back. I think this might be Overture. There may be some commercial data mixed in this too, but it's free. They contributed to the Overture project. So
hmm, very cool.
yeah, but the
No,
point is they have some other services too. So
Are those building footprints actual footprints, or is that just a background?
no, they're real footprints. In fact, I added the 3D effect right before the call. You can see um, my table of contents here. So let's see, what did I turn on? I think it was, yeah, the school, because I added a little offset to give it a little 3D look to it,
Nice.
make it pop a little bit more. Yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
Are the buildings covering the entire state, or is it just select towns? Do you know?
No, I think it's pretty much the whole shooting match. Let's see. Used to web. Let's see. Where should we look?
Sure, up where I am.
I see
Oh,
some outlines over
building cover.
here. There you go.
That's VZ right there. VZ Stillwater, just to the Steve. I'm not sure where the town line is, but that's Stillwater in the upper right.
Yeah, Stillwater Avenue. Okay. You know your state.
Yeah, well, I've lived there all my life, so.
Okay. Got lucky then.
All
Yeah,
right.
so I think I paid $50 for this and it's worth it. I got the entire state here.
Yeah, very nice. Um, so anyway, I guess we can get things going.
Yeah.
John, well, first, I think Becky, you were going to check with um, We have some new people apparently have joined us, or
Yeah, if anyone is new to registering for this Zoom series, I'm just going to pop up a poll if you want to be added to a mailing list for more information about the group.
You want
So
me to, is that a good segue to the website real quick?
yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Um,
So some of you may know, how do I close this thing now? I'm already on the list. That we have a website for this group in particular. And if you were to go to this URL, um, you can register for the site. And we're hoping to increase engagement on this site. And Mike and I have posted a few articles in here. We're not sure how many people have actually seen them. And some of them are very short. So here's one. On one call, we had people asking about statistics in QGIS. So I was aware of these resources, so I popped them in here and trying to keep it short. But we really would like to encourage people to jump in here. So please come here and sign up. It's very basic. And I would like to ask that people come in and maybe post oh, I got to log in to get that to come back. A discussion topic. Um, under it can be anything, but maybe introductions that explains how you're using QGIS or how you hope to use QGIS or what your interest is. So we can respond to it better because we need to fill out the speaking topics for this session, and we don't really know what to talk about and what people are interested in, and this sort of thing would get you to look at the website and tell us what we can kind of put on the calendar.
and by all means, we don't want to be the only ones presenting stuff. This is really meant for everybody to engage and contribute. Um, and if maybe you're new to QGIS, you can still contribute by asking questions. And uh, we don't, neither John or I and Steve and whoever else, I don't think any of us claim to be the absolute experts on everything QGIS. So, seeing new questions will drive us to go look at something,
Mhm.
and see, how can we achieve that with QGIS, or maybe we can't, but um, uh, the questions are just as valuable as anything. So we know what to talk about and what to research and present. So to get some responses there, Becky, oh, you're muted.
yes, I think most new people put in their name and email. We can put it up at the end too.
So just for anybody who's new to this, Becky is the chair of Maine GIS User Group. I'm on the board. I've been on the board on and off for many years and chair myself. Um, and some of you I know have been involved for a very long time. Shout out to Vinton. Vinton's been very involved over the years. Uh, so anyway, John, I think you were going to see if anybody had any particular topics that they'd like
Yeah,
to schedule.
yeah. I guess we can just ask on an open floor now, but also type it in the website. Um, does anybody have anything that they're interested in learning about with respect to QGIS or explore more that we can add? And if we don't know how to answer that, or we could probably find speakers. How is everyone using or wants to use QGIS? Anna.
Um, I can chime in. I'm curious about what John was just mentioning about the mobile app. And it sounds like NextGIS is connected to QGIS or integrates with QGIS. But I'm in the process of slowly trying to determine whether to use collector, or I think it's called field map or something like that in ArcGIS Online now.
Mhm.
But if there is a mobile connector, I for QGIS, I could be very easily persuaded to just go that direction now.
Oh,
I'm trying
interesting.
to do some field mapping out in the. I bought an underwater drone, so I'm like kind of mostly just playing with it and taking pictures right now. But eventually, I'd like to be able to like take a data point for where the pictures are. Um, so using open source would be pretty handy.
Yeah,
I
I do
second that.
know that QGIS does have a mobile app. Excuse me, mobile app. It's called QField.
Mhm.
uh, that you can download on your phone. I haven't really played with it. I got it far enough to put a parcel map on it and sit in my office and say, oh yeah, the dot's in the right spot. Beyond that, I haven't done much, but I know they do have one.
Great,
Well,
thank you.
you're ahead of us, Steve. You want to see maybe next month talk about that?
mhm, yeah.
Well,
Now
I'll
that
have
she's
to learn how to
been,
use it before I can present, but yeah, sure, we can play around with it a little bit.
if
Um,
if you run
and
out of
I actually have to reintroduce myself to it. I downloaded it when I first started, and I haven't touched it since. But um,
if you run out of time and can't, just let me know.
okay,
We'll get it covered because I think that's a great topic. I mean,
yeah,
I want to know about that too.
yeah, okay. Yeah, be happy to. I will. I did plan on. I'm doing a presentation to assessors on Thursday, which is why I was asking about, hey, who should I send people to get signed up for this group? I plan on making an instruction for how. I'm just doing a simple join table and show visualize stuff on a map, kind of a presentation, a very one-on-one thing, but. I thought it would be helpful to just put the instructions that I'm going to make on the listserv as just another thing in there. I'm still writing it for my meeting on Thursday. You know how that goes. Uh, but I'll get it up there. But yeah, I'll look at the QGIS thing again. Um, I just as a general statement to the group, I think I've noticed that one of the things that's kind of a negative for ArcMap now is you have a lot of users that don't need all the analytics and all of the even the basic uh, ArcMap has a lot of tools. And talking to our planners and stuff, it's like, yeah, you know what? I just want to open up a map and show three
Yeah.
things,
Yep.
and it's like, God, you hate spending that 1,500, 200,000, a lot of money every year for that basic functionality. I mean, Bob, he's kind of like,
Yeah.
God, I use it once a year. Why am I spending all this money for this? And, so that's what I got intrigued and just I'm very much an Esri junkie here, but when I moved to Belfast, they didn't have anything. So, and I didn't have the budget to buy anything. So I'm like, I was the ArcMap holdout, right? It's like you're gonna pull that out of my cold dead hands because I used ArcMap for so many years. Trying to use ArcGIS Pro is like going from an iPhone to Android for me. It's like everything's in the wrong place. I know I can use it, but I can't figure it out. So I figured if I got to learn software anyway, why don't I start with the free one?
Yeah.
And so
I think
far,
being
it's
based on open standards, QGIS has a lot of options that Esri is not going to really
yeah,
make available to you. Um,
yep,
this is a great topic to chat about on the website. We can all throw our resources up there, and
yeah,
maybe Anna could start the question there, and we can all chime in on it.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing I saw this morning was actually pretty inspirational because it offers both the backend infrastructure and they have their own mobile app, but it's all standards-based services. So you could probably hit it with, there's a whole bunch of options out there for it. So cool. Who else is curious or doing something with QGIS? Got Anna and Steven spoke up. We have to start calling names.
I'm not doing anything with it yet, but I'd be interested to see how it is with raster processing.
Hmm.
elevation and
Oh, yeah.
clipping rasters and all that. I guess specifically as compared to in ArcGIS. I mean, it's ArcGIS is very powerful, but it can be very slow sometimes.
Are you
So,
thinking like spatial analyst type stuff,
yeah,
3D?
spatial analysts. Yeah.
Okay.
I've
Okay.
done some stuff with raster, and it's been actually a little while since I did, and didn't have any. I don't recall any issues. Um, I kind of along that line, or semi-related because it is using rasters. I use the georeferencing a lot, and that's maybe a topic that I can
Mm.
go over sometime soon because I personally I find for the most part the georeferencing in QGIS is actually superior. I find it a lot easier to use. It's not perfect, but what is. So yeah, the georeferencing is a topic I'd be glad to cover sometime.
Oh, some comments coming in. Karen, curious where to look for plugins when you need them and how to install a plugin to the program.
Ah,
That's
I
really
used to use
easy.
it. I used to use it to export out uh, Google imagery, and I'd make a polygon tile and then bring tick marks in and sort of do a workaround where I'd rectify them back, or it wasn't. It was sort of like just um, uh, georeference them back into ArcMap. Um, So I've been using it off and on for a little over 10 years, but um, maybe a little longer than that. But it's usually for some kind of workaround that I can't get something to work just right in ArcMap. And for a while there, Google Imagery, we had to buy. Um, it was like a third party extension. I think it was called Arc to Earth or something.
Hmm.
But then their license with Esri went away and they lost all their customers. So I started to um, find this. I went looking for a workaround and figured out how I could do it easiest in QGIS because Google Imagery's always been in there.
Yeah, lots of free base map services there for some reason. Yeah, it sounds like we need to have maybe like a my favorite plugin part of these calls because
that's a great idea.
the prior version of QGIS, the 344 series, they're getting close to 2,000 plugins, and QGIS 4 is what is it today? I mean, there's uh 624 today and counting. So these are the plugins that are getting migrated from the 344 version up to QGIS 4. So they're getting caught up, but there's a lot to choose from there.
Okay, well, if there's other ideas, you certainly can email them to us or better post them on the forum, and we'll get together, John and I and Becky, and decide what topic next. But those are great ideas. At this point, it's 22 after. I'm going to talk to you uh, about working with layouts in QGIS. And I probably have more than can fit in the remaining 40 minutes or so. Um, I kind of figured that might happen. So if I don't get to the whole thing, um, I can stay longer. We are recording this, or if there's too much, I'll cut it short and then pick up next time and continue on where I left off. So unless there's any other comments, I'll get started. Well, hearing no comments, I'm going to share my screen over here. Can you all see that now?
I cannot.
How about now?
Now I can.
Yes.
Okay. So I've done a little bit of footwork first. This is actually a town that I'm converting to digital tax maps right now. So these parcels are brand new, and you can see various stuff that I'm adding, um, such as the parcel dimensions and so on. It's not 100% complete, but it's in a form that's suitable for showing you how to set up the layouts to produce tax maps, or set up the layout to produce tax maps. So you can see we have parcel polys, easements, electric lines, miscellaneous lines, and so on. And we have a few anno things in here as well. I don't know if I'll get to that, but I know anno is always, annotation labels are always kind of a big deal because some of the things that you have in ARC are not available in QGIS, but nevertheless work pretty well with it. Anyway, so first thing I need to talk to you about are map sheets. The way I've always done this in ARC, I do kind of the same thing here. I create a map sheet boundary of what the live part of my map is going to be to the scale that I want it. So I typically work in final output that's 24 inches by 36 inches, so Arch D. And the neat line, or the portion of that I use for the map area, is typically 32 by 22.5 or 22 and a half inches. So depending on the scale that I want, I need to set up a map sheet of that size. So uh, for a 100 foot to the inch map, that's going to be 3,200 feet by 2,250 feet. So what I'm going to do is create a map sheet layer, brand new. So I got to pull this over so you can see it. I clicked on this button right here to create a geo package. You can do this in shapefile or something else if you want, but I kind of like the geo package format because it doesn't create so many fragments of files like the shapefile format. You can have quite a few different files that all, or most of which, need to be kept together. GeoPackage, typically there's just the one file, although when you do stuff with some of the formatting and layouts and stuff, it can create a couple more files. Anyway, I'm going to select where I want it. They call it database. I think they're using it kind of generically. And I'm going to call it sheet poly. Whoops, I got the caps lock key on it. I was doing some stuff right before this caps lock. So I'm going to create my sheet poly, and the geometry type is going to be polygon. Now, because of the location of this, this is going to be in Maine East. There's two different versions of the NAD 83 coordinate system. There's 26,814, and there's another one, 26,847. And we really want to use that 847. That's the up-to-date uh, uh, spatial reference that should be used. The 14 version is supposedly deprecated, but it works equally well either way. But I've been going now everything 847 since I've learned about this deprecation. So I'm going to need a few fields in this to work with this. So one is what's the map name going to be? So I'm going to type in name. It's a text. So I want to allow to have map names. So if I wanted a sheet named 12B, I can do that. if I make that an integer, I'm not going to be able to have that flexibility. So I'm going to add that to the fields list. I'm going to create an order field. This is a little bit, it'll look a lot like the name, except for it's actually just a numerical order so that when I see a list later in the map layout stuff of the map names, I can ensure that they're in a sensible order. So I'm going to create that as an integer. I'm going to add scale. Scale can be an integer, that's fine. And then rotation. And the rotation, we want to use a decimal. And add that. And that's all we really need to do here. We're going to say OK. Now, I want to set up um, some template sheets of the scales that I want. No, the only scales I'm going to use here are 1" equals 100-foot scale and 1" equals 400-foot scale. So the easiest thing to do is set up that 1" equals 100-foot scale sheet first. So I'm going to, I'll leave that filled for now, but later I'll probably change that. I'm going to go into the edit mode. Um, and I'm going to um, add a polygon, which is, I'm going to make a rectangle out of this. You notice I've got my advanced digitizing. If you don't have this installed or active, make sure you get advanced digitizing. This makes a lot of things much easier if you're trying to do work with um, deeds, to split parcels and stuff like that. Being able to specify the distance of something that you're drawing is really handy. Plus, you can also use coordinates. I don't normally use those. So I'm going to create a rectangle. You can see over here, there are some, these may be in different places on yours, so don't go by necessarily where I say they are. It's just where they are on mine. I'm going to do a rectangle from 3 points, and I'm going to click and start an initial side of the rectangle. Now you can see, of course, as I drag this thing around, you can see the coordinates and distance and angle and stuff changing in the advanced digitizing panel on the left, upper left. Well, I want to make sure it's, you know, uh, horizontal and vertical. So I'm going to type the A key, the letter A, and you can see on the advanced digitizing, that angle has changed. And I'm just going to, without touching the mouse or my trackpad, because if you do, it's gonna, go out of the mode of letting me type. I'm just going to type 0 and then return. Okay, now you can see it's constraining that to the horizontal. And you can see the distance is changing, the angle is not, the X is changing. I don't really care where I put it because I'm going to move it around anyway. And now I can type the letter D. I'm not touching the mouse, I'm not touching my trackpad. That's important to remember. And as I said before, um, the I want this thing to be fit a 32 by 22.5 inch neat line. It's a 1" equals 100-foot map. So I want that distance to be 3,200 feet. And so I type that in, type return, and now you can see it's constrained to either here or there. Doesn't really matter which way you go. And I just click to accept that. Now you can see I'm constrained to making that rectangle. And now, as you see, as I move this up and down, you can see the distance and angle changing. Uh, the You can type the angle if you want. I usually do. I don't know why. I don't think it really makes any difference. So I put A 90 return. It really does the same thing, but it just makes me feel better, I guess. And I want to constrain the height of this thing to 2250 and make sure that was right. 2250. And there we go. And I'm just going to click on my trackpad and I goofed that up. I should have double clicked. So I got to do that again. D2250, return. Oh, you know what I've done? Um, I've actually done this twice. Let me back up here and get out of that. I'm going to do this again real quick. Um, sorry about that. I was not being good. So constrain that, distance 3200. Constrain that, click. Now I'm constrained this way. Like I said, I have a tendency to put that angle in, even though I don't think it really makes any difference. And I want to do the distance 2250. And there we go. Now I'm going to right click, or on my keypad, or trackpad, I use two fingers. And the attribute editing pan dialog comes up, and you can see auto generate for the ID. So I don't care about that. We'll leave that. This is going to be 100 scale template because it's not going to be a real map sheet yet. I'm going to just make a template. Order, I'm going to put -999 in here. And if I get to it, you'll see why. It's just a little helpful thing later. I only do it on my templates. On my map sheets that I actually make, they're going to have a real order. And then scale, this is going to be a 100 scale sheet. And the rotation, we don't know yet, but we're going to find that out here pretty quick. So we can just leave that null and click OK. Okay, so I got my 100 scale sheet template set up. Now I'm going to just save this, make sure. Always save. Anybody who's used Arc or any other program like that, save often. You never know what might happen. What I'm going to do is duplicate this thing, but and then scale it up 4 times, make my 1 inch equals 400 foot. So I'm going to go to this tool here, and you can see it's either move feature or copy and move. I'm going to do copy and move. So I'm going to click on it, drag it down here out of the way. And now I want to scale that thing. There's a little scale button right here. I'm going to click on that. And you notice up in the upper right, it says scaling 1.0. You can see that way over here. I can do this by hand, but honestly, it's easier. Just you can see that thing is blue background, meaning it's ready for me to type. So I'll type in 4.0 and return. And there's my sheet template. Now, the only thing left to do here, it's going to have the same attributes as the 100, and I need to change the scale to 400. So that's going to be 400, and that's going to be 400. Okay. Now, I could start by copying this thing and pasting it around, but I want to do one thing. I want this thing to match the general angle of the town. And that's true for both. I want them all to be arrayed at the same angle. You could absolutely have them different angles. A lot of towns do. For whatever, just to make things fit, they might have one sheet rotated 10 degrees, another one rotated -12 degrees, all different angles. For this demonstration, I'm just going to use one angle. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab both of those. So I'm using the selection tool, grab both of them, and I'm going to move them over next to this side of the town and then rotate them. I'll show you a little trick here. So I'm going to copy and move so I have my originals that are not rotated. So we're already in copy and move, but I'm going to show you that again. I'm going to grab this thing, just click, and then, oops, let me do that. Click and drag. Actually, I'm not dragging, I'm just moving the mouse. I'm going to just you can see the lower left-hand corner of the map sheet is pretty close to the line, the town line. That's intentional. So now I've got my I've got my map templates pretty close. I'm just going to save that. And what I want to do now is I want to rotate those things so that they're approximately parallel to the town line, parallel or perpendicular, whichever way you're looking at it. I can do both at the same time, which is pretty cool. Um, a lot of times if I'm not sure if anything's selected, I'll go hit this deselect. So you may see me pop over here, deselect. That's just sort of preemptive to make sure I don't have anything else selected when I do this. So I'm going to click and drag over these to rotate them, and I'm at the same time, and I'm going to click on the rotate feature. Now, a little trick here, um, I can move this little red plus sign is the point about which the rotation occurs. What I want to do is rotate around this corner. So I'm going to hold my command key down and click down here on the corner. One thing I want to do is turn on my snapping. That should snap to that corner. And okay, so now I'm within tolerance to snap to the corner, hold down the command key and click. And you see the little red plus pop down there? That means now, as long as that's there, I can rotate these and it'll rotate around that corner. So I'm just going to click and then just start dragging around. And that looks pretty close to me. You can see up there the rotation says minus 13.04. Let's just remember that. So minus 13.04 degrees. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for this. So I guess I save. Okay, so now I have my rotated versions, and I want to change the rotation field for these to be that 13.04. And I got a little comment I can need to make about this. So let me go back here. This tool right here will let me edit the attributes of both anything I've got selected in that layer at the same time. Or if I'm just doing one at a time, I'll use the identify feature tool. That allows you to edit as well, edit attributes. But in this case, I want to do multiple. So I'm going to go down here and set the rotation to 13.04. Now you might ask, when we rotated those, remember it said minus 13.04? The angle or the bearing, if you will, or azimuth that the features use in here is 90 degrees and flipped from what the map layout uses. And that's really confusing, but if you go into Grok, you can actually ask Grok how to make that conversion, and it will do it for you and tell you how to do it. But I know from what I'm doing here, this is going to be 13.04. It's going to actually be a positive number. So in the layout, the angles go from the horizontal up to the feature, whereas the angle that we saw before is from the vertical axis. So I don't want to belabor that too much. Just know that that can be a little bit confusing, and sometimes you gotta, between grok and experiment, figure it out. But they are backwards and reverse from each other. So click OK. So now if we look at these things, I'm going to deselect. Now I look at this one, 13.04, map 100. I don't have an order in here, and that's the 100 scale template. And this one is same idea, but 400 and 400 scale template. So now I'm going to copy. I'll start with the 400 scale, and I'm going to do my map one. I'm not going to worry about this jog up here. Turn off my snapping here because I don't want it popping around. The S key will turn on and off snapping, by the way. So I'm going to call that pretty good right there. And because I'm still in this mode, it's just going to let me keep doing this. And I'll just come right across like this. And I can start my next row down here and do these map sheets. Now right click to stop doing that. I probably ought to move, I'm going to move this thing out of the way just so you can see it better. And the next thing I need to do is I need to update my map numbers. So this is going to be map 01. And the order, I'm going to make that sheet 1 or the first one. This is going to be map 02. And this is where it's important to have this name field be a text string. Otherwise, it would convert 02 to just 2. And I do want the leading 0 in there. So 2. Bear with me as I do these, and 3, because you're going to want to see it when I go to generate the maps. This could be 4. Get rid of that. And yeah, I did save that. Okay. And 5, 5. Oops, I want that 0, 5. And the last one.
04 needed to be 0 in front of it as well.
Oh, okay. Thank you. 0, 6. And 6 and 4. I didn't do the 0. Okay. So it should be good. Now, I'm going, you see, because of where this is, I can't see everything. So I'm just gonna change that to um, be a pattern fill. Uh, I'll keep that gold. I don't care, that's fine. But I'm gonna change the fill color type here to, I don't know, we'll try dense 6. So it's gonna be kind of a shade. And this is just more for demonstration so you can see it. I don't normally do that myself, but I'm doing it for your benefit so you can see what I'm talking about. Now I'm going to make a 100 scale sheet. So I'm going to grab this guy and I'm going to put it right here over this area. And I don't know if you can see that, but there's an outline of the sheet right there. And escape out of that. So now I have a 100 scale sheet in there. I need to grab that thing. See if I can get it. Sometimes a little hard. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. There's a bunch of different ways we can get at that. I'm going to open up the attribute table. I know it's going to be this last one that I did, which I haven't saved. See, it says auto generate, and I'm going to call that map. We'll call it map 20. I don't know. Doesn't matter. That's a 100 scale, and I've got my rotation in there. The order, you can see I've got my 1 through 6. I'll make that order 20. It doesn't matter. I just want it at the end of the list. Save that. And we are done. So I'm going to go out of the edit mode by clicking the pencil. So now we've got 6 sheets laid out. We could do the rest of the time, but I don't want to bore you to death with that. So now we're all set to actually start creating our layout. So under the project menu, there is a new print layout. And then there's layout manager, and we don't have any layouts. If we had any layouts set up, they would be right here. We don't have any yet, but we're going to create one here now. So create new print layout. I'm going to say tax map layout. Be whatever you want, doesn't matter. It's just what I chose. And here's our blank map sheet. Now, it's going to default to a map sheet size you probably don't want. I think this defaults to A4. I can right click on this, choose page properties, and change that to Arch D. And I want to leave it landscape. And now if I zoom out, you can see the whole thing, or I can click here and it's going to zoom to the whole thing. So there's my 24 by 36 inch map. I'm going to go to add item up here and click add map. So this is going to be my component that will produce what I have over in the view part. This is actually a different window. If I drag this down, you can see the other one behind it. So I'm going to just choose add item, add map, and then I'm going to draw just approximately in here. It doesn't really matter because I'm going to change this in a moment anyway. So there's what I have in my view in the main part of QGIS. Now, I want this thing to be in specific coordinates or at specific position and size. So you can see over here now it's added map 1, and we've got a tab here, item properties. And if I scroll down, I see a couple things. One thing, we can create a frame around it. I'm going to make the frame 2 millimeters thick, so a nice thick frame. And I'm going to change the position and size specifically so that I have a 1/2 inch margin on the top left and bottom, and a larger margin on the right where I'm going to have my marginalia. One of the cool things in QGIS, a lot of places where you have to put in stuff like this, they let you change the units. So I'm going to change that to inches, and I'll change that one to inches. So now I can type 0.5, so 1/2 an inch, 0.5, 1/2 an inch there. The width of this thing, I want to be 32.0, and the height I want 22.5. Okay. And I did something wrong, obviously, here. The height is wrong because you see there's like an inch down here. So that's supposed to be 23, I think. Yeah, that looks right. Okay. Um, Now, one thing it's really helpful to do is you see this little lock symbol and the column here, it's got a checkbox, and check that off. That way you can't inadvertently move this thing, which will save you trouble later. So, okay, we're making progress here. Um, so you can see even my map sheet coverage or layer is on here. I need to now set this up uh, so that those map sheets control what I see here when I create an atlas. And you'll see what I mean in just a moment. So I want to do this as an atlas. If you were just making a one-off map, you wouldn't use the atlas part at all. But if you're making a map series like tax maps, you want to do this. So atlas, generate an atlas. The coverage layer is our sheet poly. So these things. And I'll get to this hidden coverage layer later. It's good to be able to see them right now. If I click that off, they're going to disappear. They're still there, you just won't be drawn. And my page name is name. You could have it something else. And I want to sort these when I do everything in terms of that order. And remember I had the -999s in there in the order field? I want to actually filter those out. They're just the templates. So I'm going to click in here, and whenever you see this symbol of this little icon, that means there's a little editor for you to put stuff in here. I could type it in, but a lot of times the editor is better. And it's just that there's a little complaint up there at the top, but don't worry about that. It's going to go, that won't matter. So I'm going to tell it that I don't want to see anything where the order equals -999. Or I could say greater than equal to 0, whatever. No, I want to not equal to minus 999. Down here, it will show you a preview of the data. There's the data. If I click on one of these, preview 0, it can't find it. Don't worry about that. Sometimes it's handy. And click OK. Now it's going to ignore anything that's minus 999 in the order field. And remember, we put order on all the ones that we actually placed in here. So great. We're doing pretty good. I'm going to go over to the item properties for the map. I got to click on map, item properties. Now, I could just set this scale. Say I'm doing the 400 scale maps, so it would be 400 times 12 to get to the scale 1 to 4,800. So 4,800 map rotation. I could put in here my 13.04, which is what we did. I gotta delete some garbage there. And it will do that. But I'm going to change that here in a moment. I just want to show you first what it will do in that case. Um, we probably won't get to the map themes this time because we're running out of time. Uh, but come down further for map 1, and you can see it says controlled by Atlas. We're going to go ahead and say yes. We can use a fixed scale or let the scale vary according to the feature that's being used to control it. I'm going to just go fixed scale. So it's going to use this 4,800. Okay, so what does that look like now when I generate map sheets? So if I go up here, couple things. Obviously, these are buttons to let you zoom the layout. Buttons over here for a variety of things, including changing where the content is and stuff. There's a refresh. If you change like the symbology of a layer and you want to go back in here and see what it looks like with the new symbology, things like that, you can refresh it. But when you're doing an atlas, you're going to use this little toolbar up here. You're going to click Preview Atlas. So it's going to go to the first map sheet. Now, if you pull this down, you can see these are all in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I can pop through these, jump from one to one. So here's map 3. That was in the upper right-hand corner of the town, the northeast corner. You can see the town of Brooks over here and such. So this is the town line. And then we pop down lower left, 4, 5, 6. Now my map 10 is not in here, and I suspect I know why. Let's go back over here. I may have not edited that properly, so I'm going to look at the values of that 20. Oh, see, I didn't actually set the map order correctly. So I'm going to go into edit mode, change that to, we can make it 20. I'm going to save that, close that, and get out of there. Go back to our map layout, back up here. Remember I said about if I change something in the main part of QGIS, I may need to refresh it. Well, here's a case where I may have to do that. So I'm going to refresh and see if it's in my menu. It's not in my menu. I suspect I need to get out of the preview. Let's just do that again, just make sure. And then we'll preview again. There it is. So now if I go to, I can still go through these just like I did. If I go to map 20, which is that 100 scale map, you can see it's down in here. The scale is not correct, right? So what I need to do is change how I set the scale. I typed in a value right here, but I want to set it to whatever's in the field scale of that coverage layer. So I'm going to click on this little editor or menu button, and I can choose that variable, choose that field scale. But it's not as simple as that, because remember I put the scale in terms of how many feet to the inch, but the mapping software, the GIS software expects it as a ratio, 1 to 4,800 or 1 to 1,200, what have you. So what I'm going to do is go into edit and I'm going to create that formula. So I want to go in the fields and values, and you can see here are the fields from that coverage layer. And I want scale, so I'm going to double click on that. I want to multiply that by 12. So I'm going to click on the times button down here, or I could type in an asterisk, and I'm going to type 12. And you can see now down here in the preview for map 1, it's 4,800. If I go to map 20, it's 1,200. That's what I really want. I want that to change according to which map it's previewing. I click OK, and voila, there it is. There's my 1,200 scale map. If I go back one to a 400 scale map, I've got my 400, 400, so on. So pretty easy once you understand how those things interact with each other. Now, let me check yeah. So I can do a similar thing with rotation. And the rotation, I type that in. I'm just going to change that. In this case, the rotation is just going to be the field. So I'm going to just say rotation. And the little yellow background of these tell you that those are not numbers. Those are from the field or calculation. So those are set outside of just these controls right here. And we're hitting 1 o'clock. I understand if anybody wants to leave, but I'd like to just finish up a couple, I don't know, couple things, and then we can pick it up next time if you prefer. So last thing I want to show here, I want to go back to Atlas, change that hidden coverage layer. I'm going to check that. So now we don't see that at all. And I'm going to save this because I don't want to redo it if anything happens. So now I'm going to add some marginalia here, and then we'll generate it, and that'll be it. So I'm going to add a shape, rectangle. I'm going to let it snap to there. Oops. And I'm going to set this to be at 32.5 because I want it exactly where the other one is, and 0.5. And the width, I'm going to make the width to be, what is it, 2.5? We'll see here in a moment. I may not have that right. And the height, 2.5. We'll see. I'm not sure. So I'm off a little bit. We can go into the item properties for that rectangle, change the Y is okay. The width should be 3.0 and the height should be 23 because I did not remember what I put in. And there we go. The other thing I want to do is change the styling to have that same thick symbol outline. And I'm just going to change the stroke width here. This is already set in millimeters, so I'm going to change that to 2.0 to match the other one. And there we go. I'm going to lock that thing so I don't accidentally move it. And now let's add a logo or a town seal. I've got one already prepared. I'm going to go up here, add item, add picture. I'm going to say I want it approximately here. We can move it when we get done. And you see it comes up with a couple options, raster image or SVG. In this case, I want it to be a raster image. This thing's scrolled off a little bit. This is the name of the file. So I'm going to click here on the ellipsis button, and I'm going to get my presentations, and I gotta get the right one. Sorry, I'm in the wrong one. Now I'm gonna get my town seal. Thank you to Google Imagine, made up this neat little logo or town seal. Another town with a nice schooner on it and a mountain. So I don't know. Just I thought it looked nice. Um, if you've never used Grok and in this case Super Grok and Imagine, it's really easy to do stuff like this. Uh, so I've got my town seal. I'm going to add a north arrow. It's going to kind of work the same way. I'm just going to go here. You can see little guidelines as it snaps to other things. I'm just going to make that like that. I don't like any of their SVG arrows, so I'm going to put in my own. And the one I'm going to use is one that I found out on the web. I had to pay like $3.25 for, and it's called Compass Rose SVG. And I think it makes a nice looking uh, north arrow. Now that north arrow, because I set this all up this way, it's already keyed to the angle of the map. You can change what it, what that rotation is, but this will rotate. If I've got sheets that are rotated different ways, that'll rotate automatically. Next thing I want to do is I want to add a map name in here. So I'm going to add item. I'm going to add some dynamic text. And in this case, I want to grab the field, which will be the name. And let's zoom out here. I'm going to put it down here towards the bottom. And I'm going to just draw a rectangle there. And you can see it says name. And I'm going to type in here map and a space. And that the font's so small we can't see it. So I'm going to make that a lot bigger. I'm going to make that, say, 36. Hopefully that'll be big, and I'll make it bold. And there's our map 20. And the other thing I want to do to that real quick is, see if I can find it here. I want to change the, where the heck is it? Text orientation is horizontal. I'm drawing a blank here. I want to change the, what I wanted to do is make it center justified, and for some stupid reason I had to come back out one level, that's why. See, it's left justified, I want it center justified. There we go. Here's our map 20. If we change which map we're looking at, that's going to change with it. So we're all done with that. I will skip in the interest of time, I'll skip the scale bar and scale text. Yeah, we can do the scale text real quick. So I want some dynamic text. In this case, I want map properties, map one, and I want the scale. So whatever the scale is going to be in here. And I don't want just the number 4,800. I want to say 1 inch equals 400. So I'm going to type in here just before, I'm going to put 1 inch equals, and then this is the 4,800, but I want to divide that by 12 to get 400. And I want the inch mark after it. Hopefully I did that right. It's quite possible in a doing a demo like this to do something wrong and not realize it. So I'm gonna make that 16. Hopefully that'll be big enough to see. Let's go. Okay, I did not do that right. I did something wrong in here. Oh, I put the divide by 12 in the wrong place. So I'm going to edit that, or take that out of here, and you see map scale. I want to put that in right behind it. There we go. And let's put in here scale, just something like that. And we're pretty good. So, and change those, make that center justified. So there's our map. I'm going to call it good there. There's more I can and would do, but I'm going to leave it at that. And now the last thing is about generating the maps. If I was just making one print of whatever I've got visible, I can do export as PDF, but I want to generate the whole map series. So I'm going to come over here while this is in that preview mode, and I'm going to click on this button right here, the Export Atlas button. And you see it gives me, I can do it as images, as SVG, and export as PDF. I'm going to use export as PDF. And you can see it's like, well, how do I get individual maps? Because it's wanting to make one PDF. I got to do one little bit of trickery here. We'll go over to Atlas, and you see down here in output, there's an output file name expression, and there's that name output underscore, etc. We're not going to use that. That's trying to make a single file export. So it's trying to put all of the map sheets in the same file, which in some cases is fine, but when it comes to big PDFs, I'd rather have them as individual files. So I'm going to change this to say map, MAP space, and this feature number is not going to be right. That's just what feature ID, or well, the number of how many, whatever the features are, it'll be one through whatever. What I really want is the value of name, but that's not going to be right either, because that's just going to give me the field name, which is not right. I need to go down here to variables, and you can see these Atlas feature ID, feature number, which is what we've got now, and page name. It's going to be this page name. So I'm going to grab that thing, and I'm going to replace the Atlas feature number with that. And you can see down here in the preview, map 06, that's what I want. Now, when I go to do this, let me save. That's going to be the last thing we're going to do. Now, when I go to save this, I can make a new folder. We'll call it PDFs. I'm just going to click open, and it's going to give me some export options, which I need to put over here so you can see them. I always do them as vectors, turn off this stuff, keep the file smaller, and then click save. And you saw the progress bar there real quick. And let me show you the end result. I just gotta be 1 second. PDS. So let's look map 1. Of course, it always comes up on my other screen. You know, that's part of the demo effect. So there's my logo, compass rose, file equals, scale equals 1 inch equals 400, map 01, and there's my map. And I can guarantee you they're all like that. And if we look at that other scale map, of course, it comes up on the other screen again. We have it here. Just get that a little bit smaller so you can see it. And that's it. Any questions?
I feel like I
Oh,
should
good
have
work.
some. I learned a lot.
I know that was very fast, but we do have the recording, and anybody's welcome to go look at that. Becky posts those up, usually not too long afterwards. One thing we ought to do, John, is put links to all of these right in the forum. That way there'll be one-stop shopping. You can go and see kind of a little catalog of what we've
Yeah, I
done.
agree. I have to go back and watch your previous one.
Well, there's a couple because I did a couple lunch and learns as well, which we could stick in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, right. Well, any last questions or comments or anything before we wrap up today's meeting?
I'll think of something later.
Oh,
Can I
Anna?
just ask what the website is where the discussion forum would be? Is it the MEGUGQ
Yeah, you throw in
dot
the
free?
chat. Yeah,
Okay,
it's
thanks.
kind of weird.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
want to say thanks for doing this, Mike, because I've just been in the Esri world for so long that it's nice to have an opportunity for exposure to this, the interface, and all I can do. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I I've spent decades in the ESRI world, and there's still a lot of great stuff. I mean, you think about what you get for your money's worth in ARC. It's really pretty astonishing. And I'll throw this little thing out there, but a lot of what you see in both QGIS and ARC, ArcGIS, ArcMap. A lot of that stuff actually came from the University of Maine Surveying Engineering. So throw that plug in there. There's a group of us, Jeff Jackson, Dave Puller, and so on. Jeff Jackson kind of led that effort, and those ideas were adopted by Jack Dangerman. Brought them back with him one time, and that's where the original ArcView came from. So anyway, yeah, um, there's a lot can be done, and I started using QGIS heavily about 4 years ago, and I still use ARC from time to time on certain things. There are things that it does better, no doubt, and there are things that QGIS does better. But overall, I really like the product and can't beat the price. So anyway, any other comments, or we can wrap it up?
Call it a show.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah,
Well,
thank
thank
you.
you. We'll talk to you again in a month, I guess. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.